First of all, I just really welcome this overdue discussion of the major challenges facing the sheep sector in Ireland. It's fair to say that these farmers have been severely hit by recent circumstances, especially Brexit and increasing operating costs, and that they simply just haven't received the same level of support as other sectors in agriculture. There are over 47,000 sheep farmers registered with the Department of Agriculture, with 36,000 herds being recorded for 2021 spread across the country. The past year has been particularly difficult, with operating and input costs rising rapidly, while at the same time the price of sheep farms receive are down. It's simply unsustainable. In addition, for years now, very few farmers have been able to make profit from wool, and in many cases wool is discarded because we don't have the proper structures in place. It's economically worthless, and I think it's important to just say that again, that wool is being thrown away, despite the fact that it's incredibly versatile, from textiles and horticulture, fertiliser to insulation. It could be insulating our homes in the middle of a housing crisis when the cost of construction has just skyrocketed. It has so many applications, and we should really and truly have a thriving wool sector in Ireland. Instead, we have the opposite. It's indicative of an approach that fails to value wool as a product, an economic asset, and a cultural heritage. Minister, what is the government going to do about this? You've been aware of the situation since taking office. You know how difficult it is for sheep farmers right now, and your solution in the budget was just inadequate for the pressure I think that's facing farmers. The new sheep improvement scheme went up by €2 per ewe, from 10 to 12, but that €2 was straight away already eaten up with rising costs from shearing to vaccines. Sheep farmers are basically just running to stand still. There's a pressing and clear need for an intervention package, including direct payments and the acceleration of plans to develop the wool industry. Sheep farmers have been impacted by Brexit and have made a strong case that the Brexit Adjustment Reserve should be used to assist farmers facing severe challenges currently. They're seeking a €30 ewe as part of an emergency package. The sector already receives less support than other agricultural areas, and that needs to be, I think, considered. Minister, you've already acknowledged that there is a real challenge in the sheep sector at the moment, but I'm just wondering what actions and what policy changes are you going to make as a result of that acknowledgement? I raised the issue of wool in here a few weeks ago because, like I said, it's just incredibly versatile and can be used for clothing, textiles, insulation, horticulture, packaging, cosmetics, composites, and it wasn't that long ago that wool was worth more to sheep farmers than selling the animals themselves. There's no reason why we can't have a thriving sector in rural Ireland like we did before. It just needs, I think, a really strong commitment from government, and I really do acknowledge the work conducted so far in the establishment of the Wool Council. That's a really important first step, but the area needs a really strategic focus, I think, and immediate investment for long-term results. Last year's feasibility report highlighted both the many opportunities for the sector and the challenges involved are making these avenues a reality. It's provided a clear framework for government and the Wool Council. There are numerous recommendations in the report that need to be acted on. There's a really strong emphasis on the role of cooperatives as a model to support farmers, pool resources, and keep added value as close to the farm as possible. There already are wool co-ops in Ireland, and the British Wool Board has good practices that could be replicated, but crucially, they've been identified as a means of addressing our shortage of skilled graders, and we're entirely reliant on UK wool merchants to examine and value Irish wool. And if we're able to grade the wool through training and upskilling at co-ops, I think it would retain more local control, and I think that's crucial in terms of playing a larger role in the whole value chain and the supply chain of that. Progress in these matters can't come soon enough. Farmers need co-ops, and we need skilled graders. One of the most glaring and under-released market opportunities is in insulation. Wool is a low embodied carbon. It's user-friendly material for thermal and sound insulation. We could replace imported synthetic products with natural Irish materials while helping meet our climate targets. It's literally a win-win-win scenario, and I can't understand why the Minister here and the Minister of Environment don't already have a clear kind of resourced plan to make that happen. And I met with the ICSA on Monday, and one of the things that I hadn't realised is that the wool, at the moment, we don't have a way of scouring wool in this country, so it has to be exported to do that. And we can't use it for any of those industries unless that happens. So the Wool Council is brilliant, but I'm just wondering, like, are there things being put in place to kind of immediately provide that resource here that could really allow us to kind of develop the industry? A wool hub in Ireland, including that service, could be transformative for the industry and rural economies. Following the example of New Zealand, we could have a strong research and innovation centre that would help increase sectoral efficiencies while also improving and increasing the applications for wool. This would also act as a focal part for collaboration between cooperatives and the enhancement of networks to share and develop the best practices in relation to that, because I think we need a bit more information on that. In the words of the report, while in Ireland a focus has been on quality meat production, it's time to consider establishing a hub to bring focus on wool innovation. I agree it's time the government properly supported the wool sector. Finally, Minister, I'm wondering if you could clarify what is happening with areas of natural constraint payments. Why have you decided to issue them 1 month later than usual this year? Small farmers, many of them sheep farmers, depend on that payment to supplement costs and to repay loans, and farmers have budgeted to receive that in September, usually the week of the ploughing. It's not only just unfair to not give an explanation, but it's just adding to a long list of worries for people at the moment. So just finally, Minister, if today's statement are to be worth anything, sheep farmers need to know you're taking their issues seriously. They need a financial package to address the current issues, and they need long-term investment in the sector, especially the considerable potential of wool. Thank you.